You think you're going on a date, private conversation, two people, a chance to feel something out. But the moment the phone comes out, it stops being private. Now there's a lens in the room, and lenses change behavior. I've had a woman walk up to me and raise her phone toward my face before a real conversation even started. Not smiling, not subtle, just holding it there. In that moment, something shifts. It's no longer an interaction. It's documentation, and documentation carries power. We need to be honest about what's happening in modern dating. Women bring their phones on dates. That's normal, but it's not just for texting. It's not just for directions. It's for filming. Women carry cell phones like a loaded gun in the car while you're driving, across the table while you're eating. At the restaurant when the food arrives, you're talking, she's recording. You think you're being evaluated by one person. You're potentially being evaluated by an audience you can't see. That's the shift nobody talks about. The Cheesecake Factory situation was not about food. It was about exposure. The phone comes out, the commentary begins, the experience becomes content. The man across the table stops being a human being and becomes a segment, a clip, a review. You guys won't believe where he took me. You are not on a date, you are on camera, and once the phone is pointed at you, something else changes. The stakes rise because now every word can be clipped, every facial expression can be zoomed, every pause can be interpreted, and you don't control the edit. That's the real problem. What changes the room is the fact that she can record and you can't undo it. That's it. She can decide what gets shown, she can decide what gets cut, she can decide the caption. You don't get a say in any of that. You might sit there thinking it's just a date. Meanwhile, she's holding something that can turn a normal moment into a clip. Once something is posted, it doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to whoever watches it, and people don't watch to understand, they watch to react. So you start adjusting yourself. You don't even mean to. You sit a little straighter, you filter your words, you think about how something might look if it's trimmed down to 10 seconds. That's what leverage feels like. It's quiet, it doesn't have to be used. Just knowing it's there shifts everything. You can't relax the same way when you know you might be edited later. That's the part most guys ignore. They think it's about confidence or game or saying the right thing. It's not. It's about who controls the version of the story that survives. And if you're not the one holding that fucking camera, you're not the one controlling that version. The person holding the recording device holds narrative power. If she films you driving and makes a face, that face becomes the story. If she films the food and laughs, that laugh becomes commentary. If she records a sentence out of context, that sentence becomes your identity. You are no longer just interacting with her. You are interacting with the possibility of public judgment. So what do? Think twice before speaking, because in the back of your mind there's a thought, is this being recorded? And if it is, where is it going? Dating used to be a private risk. If it went bad, it stayed between two people. Now it can go public, live, it can even go viral. I know, I'm not being dramatic because you've seen this shit many times. The smartphone didn't just change communication, it changed power. A cell phone is a women's weapon, and when you walk into a date today, it's not just you and her. She's bringing an audience. Even if that audience never sees the footage, the possibility exists, and possibility alone changes behavior. You start performing, she starts curating, authenticity drops, performance rises, and the date becomes something else. It becomes material, it becomes reviewable, it becomes shareable. It becomes permanent. You thought you were going to dinner, but the second that lens appears, you're not just dating, you're being documented, and documentation always shifts the balance. So the date is over. You drop her off, drive home. It feels normal, maybe awkward, maybe decent, doesn't matter. You think it's over, it isn't. She's in her room with her phone, going through clips, deciding what stays, what gets cut, what gets slowed down, what gets captioned. You're not there for that part. That's where the power shifts. The story doesn't belong to the moment anymore. It belongs to whoever edits it. Maybe she posts a short clip of you talking out of context. Maybe she zooms in on your face when you pause to think. Maybe she adds text over it, a tone, a narrative. Now strangers are reacting to a version of you that you didn't approve and can't correct, and it moves fast. Comments pile up before you even know it's online. He's broke. He's weird. Why would she go there? They don't know you. They don't care to. They're responding to a slice, a frame, a caption. That slice becomes you. You don't get a courtroom, you get a comment section. Once it spreads, it doesn't come back. Screenshots, shares, stitch videos, reactions, people building on top of something you didn't even know was being built. That's the part men don't factor in. You thought you were being judged by one person across the table. You were potentially being prepped for a room you never walked into. So now what happens next time? You think about it. Before you joke, you think. Before you disagree, you think. Before you react, you think. Not because you're insecure, because you've seen what happens when a moment gets clipped. You start managing risk instead of being present. You weigh how something might look if it's isolated. You measure your tone in a way you didn't used to. You hold back just enough to avoid being misread. That tension doesn't feel dramatic. It feels quiet, subtle, constant. The phone doesn't have to be out for it to matter anymore. You know it could be. That's enough. Reputation used to live in physical space. People who knew you, people who saw the full picture. Now it can live on a timeline, and timelines don't care about nuance. They care about engagement. Engagement rewards exaggeration. So the version of you that spreads isn't the balanced one, it's the sharp one, the awkward one, the one that fits a caption. Dating sucks ass. And until a respect line is forced, it will get worse. That's the system, nothing personal.